How are you? Scale Modelling Twins. A post-build review. This time I want to have a look at this one, the Kotare Spitfire Mark 1A, mid-production Mark 1. Wasn't an A at that time. It shortly became an A once they introduced a different wing. Anyway, so this is what I think of the kit and everything you get in it. So I think, yeah, I'll show you what I thought of it. So I pre-ordered mine before they were released. It came with a frameable print, which is lovely sort of drawing by Daryl Legg. What I really like about it is it's got early morning fog over the landscape there. A couple of fighters coming in the background there, and I like the sunlit reflection off the rear fairing there. I think this is Alan Deere, is Kiwi 54 Squadron. May 1940. Beautiful artwork there. So I'm really happy to have that as a frameable print. I haven't framed it yet. I'll get around to that. So the instructions, also what you get in this is Kotare's first release. You get a message from the proprietor, the owner, all about why he came to do what he did and all that sort of stuff. And basically, he's a mad modeler. He's a vet in New Zealand, and he had the position of having enough money with a bit of fundraising to start doing what all of us would like to do, and have produce your own model kits of the things you want to build. So these instructions, I think, are absolutely worth the price of admission. Now, this is sold as a premium kit. It's about 200 Australian dollars, 100 odd pounds. You get a long history there about the history of the aircraft, the serial number range, and the changes and all that sort of stuff. It's a fascinating read. What I loved is this last bit here, dedicated to my dad, who would have bloody loved this. That's Richard Alexander in 2020. So this kit came out just on 2 years ago, and yeah, it's a mud map of all the parts you get in the kit. Highlighting a very small one there. Don't forget about that one. And you use everything here except for that little corner there. A couple of bits on the clear glazing. Right, these instructions again, they go into great detail. Everything shows what colours they are to be painted. There's a long list of colour schemes there with Tamiya Humbrol and the FS and British Standard numbers. Yeah, that all builds up there, and you can see here you've got different, you can paint it black or silver or interior green. It depends on you, but it says Yama plate most likely painted black. Different rigging cord and where that'll go if you want to put in the elevator, the throttle. Oh, it's not throttle. Sorry, that would be. Oh, that's rudder, the green, and let's see. Blue is the other side of the rudder, and the red is the elevator there, and they all go. There's a couple of flare tubes, and they go into the holes at the back there, out of sight. Continue building up the cockpit. Decals everywhere. Each one of these little ovals in with a number is a decal, and the sidewall's absolutely covered with them. Yep. It all goes together. So once the cockpit is together, the two halves go together. You start building up the wing. Very straightforward assembly, and then you get into the detail of it. The way this is designed is absolutely flawless. I think it was the most amazing build experience I've probably had. It's the most enjoyable kit I've built. Lots of little decals there for the Zuz fasteners, Zuzzies as we call them in Australia, or Zeus fasteners in America. All the engine cowl fasteners at quarter turn jobbies. They have a little white line that lines up with the center of the common screwdriver, and if it's in line, it's locked. 3 schemes. So you've got Aldea 54 Squadron, the cover art. Oh, that's with the black and white underside. That's early on. So they had It's an IFF. It's basically following the Battle of Barking Creek, where Spitfires the first kill for a Spitfire in World War II was another Spitfire. Two squadrons were zoomed in. They mistook each other for the enemy and had a pot shot, and a couple of guys were shot down and killed. So after that, Air Command said, okay, we've got to differentiate before we come up with a better way to do it. Paint the port wing black, the starboard wing silver. So that happened early on. Initially, these were in silver, and then they went to this black and white, and lots of stencils underneath that. Very soon after that, they incorporated, well, Pipsqueak came along a little bit later on, which is the IFF, the first IFF in the world, actually. So they painted sky underneath these, but you could see the wheel wells and the undercarriage themselves remained a black leg there and a white leg there. So the sky underneath there. So this is Dirty Dick. This is R. Hardy of 234 Squadron, August 1940. And the last game is 3 guys. So it's D.F. Korf with 1 victory, J. Ellis with 12 victories, and P. Litchfield with 3 victories of 310 Squadron, June to July 1940. So DWK, that one there. You also get lots of information there that you don't get in typical instructions. Lots of information. Absolutely brilliant resource, this. And it finishes off there with a spiel about each of the guys that worked for Kotare. Also, as a resource, this is one of these incredible wing leader books. So this one is written by Richard Alexander, who's one of the principal designers, and for Kotare. So he's gone through, and this has become an absolute wonderful resource of pictures, information, the difference of all the versions, the early ones. So this is the Mark 1 and the Mark 2. Not many differences, but this highlights exactly what the differences are, like the Kaufman starter, and it goes into differences with wheels, differences with windscreens, propellers, and everything else. It's just amazing. So that was very useful. Now, the way mine turned out is different. So I didn't do one of the inbox schemes. What I did is a different one. So I did mine as, it's almost like the second scheme. So the second scheme in this was AZH. So the one I've gone for is AZQ, or AZQ, which is aircraft X4009. This one was flown by Patterson Clarence Hughes, an Australian who he joined the Australian Air Force initially, then he transferred over to the RAF in about 1936, 1937, so just before the dark days before the Second World War. Now, a bit of background about him and why I chose him. So, Patterson Hughes, look, I'm referring to my notes over here, so if you bear with. Right, so 234 Squadron based in Middle Wallop, down in Kent. Now, let's see, 1940. So 8th of July, he shared shooting down a Ju-88 with 3 other guys, or they all had a turn, and so a shared kill. The 27th of July, he had a shared kill with another Ju-88. He shot down 2 BF-109s on the 15th of August, 1940, and again on the 16th of August and the 18th of August. He shot down 3 BF-110s on the 4th of September, and he was killed on the 7th of September. His aircraft, he was going for a Dornier 17 on its way to London. So he liked to get in close, from what I understand and read. So he most likely flew into the tail of the Dornier. Both of them crashed, so no one could tell the story. But the aircraft landed in a field in between Sundridge and Bessel's Green in Kent, and he's buried in St James Church, Sutton in Holderness, in Row G, Grave 4, if you ever want to go and look that up. Now, about this actual scheme. So this one is what they call the B scheme. So you have 2 different possibilities when you're, let me go back to the Kotare instructions, it'll be easier than finding the book. So this one here, the box art one, this is a B scheme. So if you look at it, you got the wingtip, the port wingtip is green on that angle, and green wingtip over here, but much more of a big sort of spiel, big area of the wing there with a little bit of brown there, compared to the other scheme, the A scheme, which is reverse. It's got the opposite wing has a little bit of green, where the port wing has the big swathe of green with the brown behind. So it's literally reversed. So they reverse the colors. So yeah, on the port side here, green sort of down in an aft direction from the cockpit, whereas the A scheme has green in a forward direction down from the cockpit. So it's reversed. Green on the other side there. A, B scheme. So this one is a B scheme. Yeah, so the odd numbered airframes early on were A scheme. The even numbered serial numbers, the odd numbered serial numbers were the B scheme early on, and then later on for efficiency, they just went all to A scheme. So this is period correct and everything else. I've chosen to build mine with next to no weathering at all. I have got a little bit of silver, sort of like abrasion on where the pilot would enter, and again over on the side and where they change the gun magazines underneath and everything else. But the reason I've gone for an almost pristine look is the history of this aircraft. Now, it first flew on the 24th of July 1940. It was transferred to number 37 maintenance unit 4 days later on the 28th of July, and was there for about 2 weeks. So what they would have been doing is bringing up all incorporating all the modifications to bring it up to release of service and everything else. So the gun heaters and all that sort of stuff like that. So 2 weeks in maintenance, being having the mods incorporated. It was transferred to 234 Squadron on the 19th of August 1940. Shot down on the 7th of September 1940, so 18 days in service, and it's gone. So struck off charge on the 30th of September 1940. So Patterson Clarence Hughes was killed in there. From what I understand, he used to enjoy flying with his dog. I don't know whether his dog was flying that day or whether the dog shared the victories of shooting down the aircraft he did. But yeah, so obviously being an Australian, I'm an Australian. I wanted to honour his dedication, his service, his sacrifice to go, the bravery to go over to another country and fight for their survival, as well as the Australian Commonwealth, the Commonwealth of Nations and everything else. The markings of mine aren't a decal. All the insignia are masks made by a friend of mine, Mel, who makes miracle masks, and these he's given me very graciously. I'd asked him to, if he can make me a set to give to a mate who wanted to build this aircraft. So he gave me one lot in 48 scale and one lot in 32nd scale, and I gave those copies to a guy who asked for them, and another guy he's on the crew restoring this actual aircraft back to a flying condition, which is about 150, 120 odd k's from where I live, in a place called Scone, New South Wales. The owner there had bought the wreckage of this aircraft, and they're literally rebuilding from the ground up, and it'll fly again. It's one of the very few Mark 1s that's airworthy. So I wanted to build a local flavour, if nothing else. It's really nice. Now, let's see. Absolutely no problems with the kit whatsoever. I think it's the most amazing kit I've ever built. The fit and finesse of this thing is just, it's worth the purchase price. It's absolutely incredible. And hats off to Kotare, the guys down there are doing an incredible job. I mean, there was absolutely no problem with this kit at all. The way it's designed is it's got a row of rivets on this early Mk.Ia, Mark 1A. So that is an extra sort of fillet on top there. So it maintains that rivet line there. You've got, you don't have a seam down, your separate sort of top cowl. The again, because I bought an early one, pre-ordered, it came with 3D printed exhaust stacks. Let's turn, yep, take that out of there. Now the trouble is, that one there is the 3D printed one. The one on the other side is the kit one. You can see there's really no difference, discernible difference once they're included. The difference is these side are already molded, and these are drilled out, but not as well as that one there. The other problem I had is I dropped this when I was weathering it. I dropped it upside down and broke my mast, the antenna mast, in 3 places. In fact, this is the bits of it here, and it was pretty much unfixable. So fortunately, it had both masts, one with a long wire going back to the top of the rudder and one without. So it's got the wrong mast on it there, but if I didn't tell you, you probably wouldn't know. The cockpit detail is just amazing. Looking around for a torch. Oh well, you'd have to take it for granted that it's just absolutely perfect. Everything goes together. It's just a stunning kit, this one, and I think it's come up really well. Well, I'm happy with it anyway, and I do love the idea that with the gentle breeze, that sort of happens. So not many kits do that anymore, and not many with that little amount of airflow. It's got the little red sort of like landing gear down indicators. When the gear goes down, these little red things pop up out of the wing, so the pilot can tell the gear is down and locked. With the way that it all goes together, you cannot get the undercarriage at the wrong angle. It's already, it's got the flat spots, and it's the correct sort of angle of the tires and everything else, and everything is perfect. As I say, I went for a clean look because it's a classic Spitfire and it looks like a classic Spitfire. So wonderful kit, really enjoyed it. The only aftermarket stuff I went for in this one, apart from the markings insignia, was this seat belts set from HGW Models. Comes with little brass eyelets and 2 lots of photo etch there, and yeah, so my seat belt has got the actual buckles and all that sort of stuff like that. It just well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with the seat belt supplied in the kit. I just wanted to have that little extra bit. Well, it didn't need much embellishment, but I threw that on mainly because I could get hold of one of these things. So that's the way it all turned out. And so absolutely thrilled with that kit. I'm definitely going to buy another Kotare product. They are, second to none. They're probably, well, they've inherited, I think, the universal praise of Wing Not Wings and what they were doing down there. In fact, Richard Alexander worked with, a couple of guys did work with Peter Jackson, restoring those, those kits at the First World War aircraft and everything else. And I think absolutely worth every bit of praise they get. It's just an amazing build. Loved it. Loved everything about it. That'll do. I'll sign off, and thanks for listening. I'll speak to you later on. Hooroo.